Oh, hello again. Right, let's continue. So, Bryn Kenney goes for the open as the shorter stack, right? It's always interesting to see his risk premium on the gun 7 and take a look at this. I think some people make the mistake of thinking, not saying like there's anything wrong with ace 9, it's like a borderline open, but yes, some people make the mistake of thinking, oh, I'm the shortest stack, right? You know, there's very little ICM pressure on me, it's all the other guys who are waiting for me to bust, so I gotta make a move. And sure, the ICM pressure is not as high as some of the medium stacks, right? If we look at small blind, the small blind's risk premium can get massive here against covering stacks. But on the gun 7, still has like somewhere between 5 and 8% risk premium. So yeah, we have the shorter stack, but the other guys could still bust. So gotta keep that in mind. Now we see a flat here, and if we look at the pre-flop range from low jack, it's a fine play, but it's a very like low frequency play in terms of the overall range. When playing in short stacks at final tables, we typically play 3-bet or fold, but we do see ace jack, king queen, and a few other hands that are just in there to balance the range, calling. And yeah, I assume pretty good give up from Bryn Kenney here. Let's take a look. Alright, yeah, didn't think it through. You can go for a range bet due to having the king high advantage. But yeah, it makes sense, like in terms of hands we don't want to bluff. Something like this is not unreasonable to just give up with. But yeah, the flop is just too good for his range, right? He's the only one who can have ace queen and then ace king and so on. And I guess that's one of the problems with flatting, when your flatting range is so narrow. Like they're just going to be boards where you don't have anything, and they're going to be boards where you have a bunch of stuff, and the other range kind of does decent on most boards. Okay, let's go to the next hand. So pocket 9s opens. I assume everyone just folds. Yeah. And if we look at Stefan Chidwick's strategy, 9-7 offsuit is just a fold, even against the min raise. We're playing against the chip leader. We gotta be cautious. And now the value 3-betting range is only aces. So yeah, we are not trying to play big pots. We need a lot of equity to stack off. Yeah, we see an open. See a fold, very close. Ace 3 is out, ace 6 is mainly out, ace 4 can make the wheel, it wins a little bit of money. But yeah, fine, fold. If you think the other table is playing too many pots, this could be a very reasonable exploit. And let the other guys bust. Take a look here, let's take a look at his strategy. What did he fold? Queen deuce. And yeah, take note that the button goes for this larger sizing, which is very common against when you're opening into a bigger stack in the big blind. So you'll see that in a lot of Octopi sims. Chidwick goes for the check. Let's just take a look at the strategy. Lots of leading in the solver, even some very large leads. Again, this is a board that just connects way better with this wide defending range. 8-9 off, 8-9 suited is in here. For Chidwick, it's only 9-8 suited. So we gotta be cautious. And if we assume our opponent is not going to lead as much as they should, having like just increasing the check back frequency by quite a lot is, I assume, the right play. Now, very cool bluff. I do quite like it. Like from a style perspective, right? Like 2x pot looks really cool. It's putting the button at risk, you know, almost immediately. But we just don't need to do that. There are not enough value hands that, you know, are strong enough to do this sizing. But yeah, we do see Jack 4 suited. It's pure bluffing the turn, but it's going for half pot rather than 200% pot. So let's take a look at some bust out hands. Let's jump ahead here. So the first guy to bust, alright, might not be the most exciting hand. We see a chip lead opening. Let's take a look. Okay, aces is within the opening range, to everyone's surprise. Teun Mulder goes, I assume, for an all-in. That is also like an effective all-in. You know, then if other stacks gets it in, you know, maybe he can get away. The solver doesn't really do that. I assume the problem is that it allows the low jack to defend and see a flop. I assume he should probably either just go all in or maybe a size where the low jack can never get away from anything. You actually do give the low jack player the chance to, you know, call 10-9, and then if we see 3 overcards, well, he just saved a bunch of chips. And if we would have gone all in, I assume this hand would not even be able to call. So yeah, it's important to not just default to leaving some chips behind. Maybe if we thought, you know, these guys were lunatic gamblers or something, we could, and they would re-raise or overcall or whatever at a super high frequency, maybe then it's a fine play. But yeah, he should just go all in or leave himself way less chips. Then of course, as played, we gotta call it off due to pot odds. And yeah, no sweat even. Oh, I guess a little chop sweat here on the turn. Alright, next hand. We are looking at a very small raise. Now in Octopi, we are matching the sizes used in game to the sim. But I would assume we would want to go for a little bit bigger of a size, just to, if we see this, Stevie is only supposed to fold, you know, 16% of the time. We want to make it a little bit harder for him to continue some of the weaker suited hands and some of the medium offsuit stuff. He does defend, loads the backdoor or the 8 high flush draw. Makes sense. Tiny bet. Call again. And yeah, we're just out. I know I can see the hand. It looks a little, in some way it looks a little like milky, but also it's a very cheap bluff, right? So you never know. And yeah, on the flop, bunch of small sizes. We see it 50-50 at 8-6. It's always calling with a diamond. And it's always calling on the turn again. And then on the river, if the size is a little bit too big, you're just supposed to go for this like tiny block size, or sometimes a check with ace-3, mainly the block size. Let's see if this one here some action happens. Maybe not. It just looks like the big. Oh yeah, the big guys are playing. So we see an open. Well within the opening range. You can see Bryn Kenney is not supposed to flat anything. You know, in a chibi situation, we have a bunch of flats here. Trying to see some flops. We're not trying to see some flops out of position against the second and first in chips. Here, value wise, like from a 3-bet perspective, we can go queens plus ace king off, ace king suited, and it makes sense that the big blind's risk premium is a little bit low, decent amount lower than cutoff, so we can go a bit wider. If we reverse the stacks, it would probably only be aces and some ace king that would want a 3-bet. Goes check check. We see an ace, half pot, and fold. So on this board, no leading this time. We are opening too many tens some ace-9 offsuit, some suited 9x. We do well enough on this board that he cannot lead. On the flop, it's supposed to go small bet or check, no b75. Turn, lots of checking, right? The ace is much better for cutoff than it is for big blind. We have no business betting a hand like Jack 7. I assume we want much higher equity hands than a gut shot like this, with some like the 7 would rather. Anyways, turn, he goes for half pot. Yeah, well played. The club, I assume, is also especially nice. And then your fold here on the turn. So yeah, bunch of time goes by without anyone busting, and we can jump ahead to the second elimination. This looks like a bad beat. So cheap leader opens, which he does pretty often, 42% of the time. That even, if we combine these, or 41, there even some open jams. Makes sense given the stacks behind, makes sense given all the ISM pressure. So we look down at pocket kings and we see a non-all-in 3-bet, which is solver approved. Queens just wanna go all in, doesn't wanna get rebluffed by a king high or an ace high. But yeah, kings, aces, they're too strong. And ace jack, you just gotta go all in, because cutoff knows how wide low jack opened, so ace jack is very high up in your range at this point. So yeah, we go with it. We obviously didn't 3-bet kings to fold it. And then unfortunately for Mr. Enrico, there's an ace on the flop. Okay, elimination hands are fun. Let's find another one.